Yes, good afternoon, viewers and listeners where you've been following SIBC Radio and also online lo SIBC Facebook page. Yes, today hemi Talkback Show lo here lo SIBC and lo here mi garem lo Talkback Show today. You may happy to mas for garem now group from Tina River Hydropower Development Project where today Baba you may talk about him or discuss him now some fella updates lo this fella national project where hemi cover now inception, design, implementation and stakeholders where including two funders and communities where been working together for come up now this fella Tina River Hydropower Development Project. Now lo here lo panel mi garem now 5 fella panelists and baba mi let him oketa introduce him oketa seleva or tell him names blocketa and designated positions blocketa within now this fella Tina River Hydropower Development Project. Now baba mi start with him from lo here lo right below me, then baba mi go around him now table lo this fella afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Nemblomi Zavi, and me work for Community Benefit Sharing Project as a project officer. Thank you.
Thank you and good afternoon. Nemblomi Gabriel Imaya. I'm the Director of Energy, working with the Ministry of Mines, Energy and Rural Education, and Mifala Ministry where Mifala host team now this Tina River Hydropower Project. Thank you.
Good afternoon, listeners. My name is Pradeep Verma. I'm the project manager in the project office Tina River Hydropower Development Project, and we are under the Ministry of Mines, Energy and Rural Electrification. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Saurabh Sharma. I'm a senior manager civil from the Tina Hydro Limited from the developer side.
Okay, thank you. My name is Devin Ovita. I'm working as the admin HR manager for Tina Hydropower Limited under the K Water as a developer side. Thank you.
Thank you, panelists, for introduction. Now for kickstarting discussions, Playumi, Babami ask him now, project manager, Mr. Verma, to talk a little bit around him now, this for Tina River Hydropower Development Project. Thank you, Mr. Verma.
Thank you, Sharon. So the project started way back in 2009. And they looked at different sites along the river and they selected site 7C, and that is a site where the project is now being delivered. So we are now currently in the implementation phase. It is the largest infrastructure project being delivered under the private-public partnership model in Solomon Islands. The project is funded by Asian Development Bank, the World Bank, the Abu Dhabi Fund for Development, the Economic Development Cooperation Fund of South Korea, the Government of Australia, and the Green Climate Fund. So I would like to thank the Government of Solomon Islands, and I would also like to thank the Government of South Korea, the people of Solomon Islands, thanks to Solomon Islands Electricity Authority and the Guadalcanal Province, and thank you also to the communities. So the project started construction in full swing in early 2023. That was after a setback of about 2 years because of COVID. The project currently is about 25% complete. The project has got 4 components. So component 1, which is the hydropower facility. So it consists of the 3 into 5 megawatt Francis generators. It has got a dam which is 72 meters high and 234 meters wide, an intake tunnel which is 3,200 meters long and a diameter of 3.8 meters, and then a surge shaft and a penstock and a switchyard. Component 2 are the access roads, 20 kilometers of access road starting from Black Post Road all the way to the powerhouse site and the dam site. Then component 3, that is the transmission line. There are 2 lines, each of 20 kilometers from Lunga Power Station all the way to Tina Hydro Project site. And these lines are at 66,000 volts. And component 4 is the project office. That's where we all work. The project office, which is the coordinating and the monitoring part of the project. And then we also have got the community benefit sharing project 1 and 2. So project 1, which was completed about 2 years ago, and now we are in the stage 2 of the project, which is called as the community benefit sharing project number 2. The benefits of the project should be looked at over 80 years. The operational phase is 30 years. After 30 years, Tina Hydropower Limited, the developing company, they will actually finish the operation phase and they'll leave the country. Thereafter, the project can also reap benefits for the people of Solomon Islands for another 50 years. So in 2028, when the project achieves commercial operation, the project will deliver about 70% of the energy requirements of Honiara and the surrounding areas. One big benefit for the project is it will reduce the consumption of diesel for electricity generation by 18 million liters. The project is also going to reduce the greenhouse gas by 49,500 tons carbon dioxide equivalent on a yearly basis. The project will provide reliable and affordable electricity, and the project, because of the hydro, it provides the inertia, and that will enable Solomon Power to connect more solar farms very comfortably to the grid in Honiara and the surroundings. So with that introduction, I'd like to now hand over to Saurabh Sharma of THL, of the developer, to actually give his part. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So the current progress of the Tina Hydro project, it's 10-25%, and they have achieved the few major milestones. They have completed the earthworks for the access road and the earthwork for the powerhouse, and penstock is completed. And at the dam site, they have completed the diversion culvert, which is 240 meter long, and they have to start the upstream and downstream coffer dam as well. Also, there are 3 milestones which will be achieved in the next 6 months. The TBM, the tunnel boring machine, will to start the tunneling, and the major dam work will start. Also, the powerhouse structure work will also start. This is the update for the construction. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharma. So I will basically update on what the developer is actually doing with the communities as well. So we are not only focusing on the infrastructure development, but we're also focusing on helping communities. So I will give several examples of what the company is engaged with in the communities. So in 2019, the Tina Hydropower Limited previously donated essential school and sport supplies to nearby schools, so which is Rate Primary School. So we're actually helping to improve educational and sports for children. In 2023, also the Tina Hydropower Limited installed boreholes with 2 water tanks and a solar water system and standpipes to Antioch community, one of the communities located within the project area. So this mini water project actually serves as a timely support for the community, since there is also a primary school located in the village. So this is to ensure that students and community people have access to clean and safe drinking waters. So therefore addressing one of the most critical needs in the community within the region. So as part of the ongoing commitment to community development, K-Water and Tina Hydropower Limited, we actually jointly hosted a donation event on May 2025 near the powerhouse area at the site. So during the event, approximately 16 boxes of clothing and footwear were brought from Korea and distributed to the residents of 4 villages, namely Namopila, Habusi, and Pachuki, and Komirea within the upstream of Tina River. So this effort was made to extend tangible support to the communities living near the project. So recently, also on the upcoming event, the Solomon Cup, so Tina Hydropower Limited also supported the Guadalcanal football team that also participated in the 2025 Solomon Cup. So by sponsoring the Guadalcanal Hornets football team, it is possible to create friendly image of the Tina Hydropower project through sports and unity among the residents at the project area and Guadalcanal province and the entire Solomon Islands. So through these activities, K-Water and THL demonstrate a deep understanding well-being and the fundamental needs of the communities surrounding the project site and the entire Guadalcanal province. So Tina Hydropower Limited commitment, it actually goes beyond the infrastructure development and also embracing an integrated approach to community engagement by promoting education, health, sports and basic living conditions. I think that's all from my side. Thank you.
Next presenter, Blimi.
Thank you. Let me talk about community benefit sharing project. So, community benefit sharing project currently we are implementing phase 2, and basically community CBSP for short have designed for establishing this benefit sharing scheme. So, under this benefit sharing scheme, CBSP 1 phase 1 we already setting up CBSF, which is the community benefit sharing fund, and this benefit fund there. There's a governing fund governance where I also prepare him where him a constitution, and this community benefit sharing project phase 1 okata set him up finish the fund, and also implementing phase 2 this time, and under phase 2 mifa go into operationalizing the fund there. And so CBSP 2 mifa garam 4 components, which is component 1 operationalizing the fund, and that one the progress at the moment mifa already selecting board. The fund already had a board in place, and board already got a first meeting lokata this year, and also the TA if I go into selection of TA 2, and also this fala community component 1 plus CBSP 2 him basically for testing all the institution arrangements we have already set up, and for really capacity building law oversight and management law fund there. And component 2 plus CBSP we follow implementing with sub projects inside lot communities through Bahomia and Malango and Belaha area. So lot component 2 Mifala already dream of drilling activities for water systems. So by 5 communities now Okatawa benefit from this current implementation phase from water system, and also look for connecting around 300 to 400 plus household connections from Tina and Aratakiki and also Ado Belaha. And also CBSP 2 under component 3 hemon mainly for enhancing of skills and knowledge of communities. So currently around 400 plus members of the community would already participate or trainings where mifa roll them out law communities across law project area. And then component 4 him mainly the PMU team where him now providing oversight law full CBSP as well as dream monitoring and evaluation blood activities where I'm implemented. Thank him Noma. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I think by me a little bit story come what now Tina Hydro project is. I think first and foremost this project him initiated in 2009 from the government of Solomon Islands to address issues that him come with him not cost of electricity and use of fuel inside law generation law Solomon Power. In 2009 the project office him established through a cabinet paper where him establish him now that for a project for look at a potential site for developing now a hydropower him. So that is what him happened as he refer to PM project manager's statement to him say projector him start of 2009. So that is what him start off with. A feasibility study was done to identify what now potential where hydro imisawe constructing law that for a site After that feasibility study, there was an EISA done also to see what now the environment effects whereby happened during the project. So that is what we have done during the EISA, and then the project office start for implementing now the PPA agreement with Salmon Power, and hemi putung RFQ out for whoever build him not that for hydro for Yumi. During the RFP, I think only 2 companies come in for submit, and I think that is why Imite came now, Korean Water. So with the Korean Water on board, Salmon Power and the government, there is a period that Mifala negotiating that PPA agreement. And after signing of the PPA agreement, then all these fundings come in. So that is a brief history on what now happened from 2009 until he start constructing this Fala hydro. I think most of what to be said about the hydro, PM him talent finish. The background of the history is what me tell him, and why now government him need him this project, him for increasing access to electricity, and also to reduce the cost of electricity, where him not too far main policy blow government currently. With that also, the government him look at reforming the sector, so that there are also other independent power producers for coming, for look at how now for you may reducing the cost of electricity within our country. I think those are the very fundamental policy directions where our government, the GNAT, is now embarking on through this life where Otagaran for the next 3 to 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you to Masota panelists for those important information, where I'm sure the public is very happy for Herem. Yes, just for listeners and also viewers, if you've been following SIBC Facebook page and you got any questions with regards to the discussions where Otalo panel holem this time, you say put some questions please or comment section or inbox him come now SIBC News Facebook page. And if you listen low radio and you got any questions with regards to the topic where you miss story about him this fall afternoon, just text him come questions blue +76 and 550 na number where you have a text him for give him come questions blue lo panel before me lo this fall afternoon. Just for kickstart him off no discussions blue me lo this fall afternoon. I think one of the questions where public hemi been asking a lot, and I see a few we've been posting lo SIBC Facebook page now hemi with regards to the time period blow this fellow project. Some fellas say hemi take him long time to mass wait him starting blow this fellow project. If you follow lo panel say a little bit clarify him come a little bit with regards to the time frame. As some fellas say him take long time to mass wait him that one. What now you for panel service say lo this fellow concern where hemi been raised by the public?
Okay, I can answer that question. So the power purchase agreement was signed on the 6th of December 2018 and financial close was achieved on the 12th December 2019. So after financial close, the project is supposed to start construction. So then we had the COVID-19 and we lost more than 2 years in the COVID-19. Yeah. So the project actually has gone into in a sustained fashion. Construction started late 2022, and since then, as Saurabh mentioned, the project has achieved 25% progress so far. So the access road is nearly 88% complete from an earthwork perspective. The road is already at the dam site. At the dam site, they've done the construction. The river diversion is now ready. The river can be diverted so that they can start work on the upstream coffer dam and the downstream coffer dam, and then they can start building the dam. The tunnel portal, as Saurabh mentioned, the tunnel boring machine is already in Honiara, and that machine will be delivered to site middle of August, that is next month, and it will be assembled at site. The machine is a 75-meter long machine. It will be delivered in three components. The heaviest component is 32 tons. So you require a very wide road. The road is very windy, so you have to be very careful as to how you take it to the site. Yeah, and then the machine will be assembled during September, October, and the tunnel boring will start 15th of November this year, and the tunnel will be bored at the rate of 8 meters per day, 24/7, no stopping, no Christmas holiday, no Easter holiday, nothing, no holiday at all. 400 days they will start from one end and they will keep boring at 8 meters per day rate, and they'll reach the dam site and come out of the intake gate. And in the meantime, they'll also work on the powerhouse. So at this stage, the project office is extremely confident that the project commercial operation date will be achieved on the 11th of February 2028, when the project will go into commercial operation. By the time the transmission line will be completed, and then they will start pumping the energy through the 2 lines that Solomon Power will build to Lunga Power Station, and from Lunga Power Station the energy will be distributed in Honiara and the surroundings area. The project will deliver 15 megawatts of power, about 80 gigawatt hours of energy every year. So the project commercial operation date is 11th February 2028.
Just a follow up to that question. So if you can put it into percentage, over 100%, how much percentage would you say now the project is at?
25%. 25%.
Just another question. One of the concerns where we've seen a lot from the public, in terms of with this project, the Tina River Hydro, once it's completed, how can, in terms of translating it to the power cost in the country, because that is one of the main concerns, where the public ask him to us, how by power electricity actually reduced in terms of the dollar? If you can put that, if you can answer that question, explain it to the public in terms of the costing of electricity in Honiara, some would say.
Yes, thank you very much for that question. I think as you may save, Solomon Power me generating power generally diesel power on diesel no maya 96% to 98% of their generation him using diesel. So diesel power him import him and him got him cost lo him. So that cost him pass on to the customers. With Tina coming in as presented by the project manager, him reduce him na fuel cost there. We cannot talk for Solomon Power because in terms of the tariff, him got him two aspects to it. One is the fuel cost and one is the non-fuel cost. So what Tina Hydro is addressing is only the fuel cost. Tina Hydro coming in, it will reduce most of their fuel cost, but that doesn't mean that by him reduce him to non-fuel cost. That for non-fuel cost him depend on Solomon Power. They are the ones that derive the cost for the non-fuel. But in terms of that, the government is looking at avenues to prior to Tina for him must reduce him na cost there. So with that, the government is reforming its regulation or acts in order to allow IPPs. Yeah? So time imigarem or the independent power producers coming in, by him reducing to cost of non-fuel cost of Solomon Power. So that is why we look at amending the Electricity Act, establishing an independent regulator so that this IPP hemi participate into the grid before Tina comes in. So that is the what the government is aware of. Government is very aware that Tina coming in will only affect the fuel component, not the non-fuel. So with that, we looking at the reforms where by enabling Solomon Power also to save on their non-fuel cost, so that Hemzave reduce prior to Tina coming in. Maybe the PM can also add more on that question. Thank you.
Do you wanna add on?
No, I don't want to add anything, but let's see what other questions are there. Yeah.
Just an additional question to that one, Noma. There's one here where I ask him, how does Solomon Power and Tina Hydro, where's the relation is there in terms of, having this whole electricity cost being reduced in the country?
So the relationship between Solomon Power and THL is through the power purchase agreement. So the power purchase agreement plant is for 36 years. Now it will be for 38 years because the construction period is extended. So the construction period plus the operation period. So the operation period is 30 years. So from 2028, THL will run the power plant and supply the electricity to SIEA up to 2058. So that is the relationship. So THL will give the energy to Solomon Power. Solomon Power will pay for the energy to THL. THL will pay the government of Solomon Islands for the loans and the grant that the government has taken from the concessional financing parties. And then the government will repay the concessional financing parties over the 30 years, and all the loans will be repaid during that period of time. So that's how the relationship works under the power purchase agreement.
You've mentioned there's a loan there in terms of repayment. There's one question here from the public, and it reads, has there a cost-benefit analysis carried out in this huge project, given it's a loan from GCF? What is a viability return of this project in the next 30 years?
Okay, so if you look at the project, currently the financing is sitting at about 201.25 million, but that has gone up because of the delays. It is highly concessional loan. The rate of interest is only about 0.8%. Normally, if you go to the bank and borrow money, you'll be borrowing at 7 to 10%. Whereas this is highly concessional. So one form of loan that we are getting from the government of South Korea, the Economic Development Cooperation Fund, that is a 0.025% per annum. The weighted average cost of capital for the project is sitting at about 1.5% only.
Any of the panelists want to add on?
That's great.
Okay. Just one another question here. In terms of the community development aspects of the project, can the panel clarify in terms of the distribution of the development projects across all the communities up there involved? Is there a fair share? There's some concerns that some villages are not captured within this. What can the panel say on that?
Thank you. So the intention for the benefits for everyone, all the communities that are located within the project area. So for concerns where some of villages no inside law benefits, especially under law CBSP 1 or 2, and just because of we are still working CBSP 1 and 2, they're allocated communities where mifala implement the sub projects, but no mean that bamfala no cover not other communities. It's just that the timeline in the schedule where currently not project implementing, but going forward under component 1B sub-projects coming up next year, which definitely promote communities, priority needs for communities, and why make sure that all the procedures in place for CBSF really managed in a way where but equally distributing benefits. So going forward, starting next year, make sure that every community is covered inside, especially those within the project area.
Just another question I want to ask. Just with regards to the project there, I think for the listener like Save Noma do like under the projects where you follow run do communities apply, or is there like a framework in place where capture every communities upload area?
Yeah, so there'll be some process and procedure to follow. And that one, we got CAC. So under law fund, there's community advisory committee in place by godly communities and discuss with them communities and come up with what not priority needs for the community. And then from there, they can come up with concept notes for submitting law office, the fund management office. And through that process, there'll be some screening, some evaluation and then approval of what type of projects before go out for implementing.
Thank you. I think this question goes back to the project office. Probably Mr. Verma or the Director Gabriel can answer this. Today you mentioned earlier 25% of the project is now completed. There's one viewer here. They're saying that 2028 is not far off. How confident are you that given 2028, it's not really 50%? They're saying here that, the project will be completed, 100% by 2028. What assurance can you give to the public with regards to the project, being fully completed by 2028?
So we have actually looked at the revised schedule. So there was a schedule prepared way back in 2019. Now because of the delays, there was another schedule prepared in 2023 in September. And this year in March, we have got the latest schedule. The latest schedule has got some float. And we are very confident that with the starting of the dam next year, in February 2026, they'll start constructing the dam. They actually require 2 dry seasons to construct the dam. So the dam is 72 meters high, and it is actually in layers. Each layer is 35 centimeters. So there are about 216 layers of the dam to be constructed. The tunnel boring machine, as I said, is about 400 days of construction. And the powerhouse should be able to be constructed by the middle of 2027. So we are very confident that the transmission line, which is to be built by Solomon Power, will be commissioned in October 2027. The dam, the tunnel, the powerhouse, the switchyard will all be ready by that time. And then they have 3 months of commissioning. So 3 months starting from November 2027 to February, first week of February 2028. They do all the testing and commissioning, and on the 11th of February 2028, the plant will go into commercial operation. So we are very, very confident. Because most of the design work is complete. The tunnel boring machine is already in Honiara, and it is a matter of actually, getting the right weather. Over 2 dry seasons, as I said. But even if it is raining, they will be having some method of building the dam during. So normally all the hydro projects, wherever you build the hydro project, is always raining there. So they have techniques of managing those kind of situations. Yeah.
Just one concern here. They just want to know, in terms of the environmental aspect of the project, if the panel can explain a bit just in terms of how the project goes about in ensuring that with the development, there's no negative, environmental disaster or aspects related to the project itself.
Okay. So the project has got 31 environmental and social safeguard management plans. So they were approved in early 2023. So, and then there is the construction ESMPs, and they are all being implemented by the developer, which is THL, through his subcontractors and through his EPC contractor. And then the project office job is to actually monitor and evaluate that the right things are happening at site. So we have things like, we also have a grievance redressal mechanism. We have a gender action plan. So they are all part of the ESMPs. Then we have a biodiversity management plan, which is for the Upper Tina catchment and also for the core land. So the project company is going to plant about 20,000 trees. So all the trees that they have cut, they will actually revegetate that area. So we do have issues like, sedimentation, which is all being managed, noise monitoring, water pollution that is being managed. And then we must make sure that the communities are not impacted. So if the communities feel that they are impacted, there is a grievance redressal mechanism. So up to now, we have received in writing 140 grievances from the communities, of which 137 grievances have been closed, have been addressed. There are only now 3 grievances pending, and they are being managed by the project office and by the developer. So we are very, very confident, the environmental aspects are being managed extremely well. So this project is being funded by the World Bank, Asian Development Bank, Green Climate Fund, Economic Development Cooperation Fund, the Government of Australia, and Asian Development Bank. And these concession and financing parties have got very strict rules as far as environmental social management is concerned. They're very, very strict. They also carry out their own monitoring, not just of the environment, also they do monitoring of the occupational health and safety issues at site. Yeah. So we want to make sure that there are no accidents, there are no incidences, and all the near misses are captured properly and they are addressed. So the project office, the government of Solomon Islands is confident that the impacts to the environmental will be very, very minimal, as a result of this project.
Thank you. Just a reminder to all the viewers and listeners where you've been following Talkback Show, Tina River Hydropower Project Lo Radio, and Lo Facebook. If you got any questions where you want to ask them, Lo panel for Save answer. If you listen Lo Radio and you know accessing Facebook, you say text him come now 76 and 550 to give him questions blue where this one opportunity where panel Save answer any questions or concerns where you got them with regards to the project. And if you follow SIBC News Facebook page, just drop them in no more questions play you comment section, and then you say got an opportunity for asking panelists now other questions or concerns play you. Just moving on, panelists again. I think one question here with regards to environmental pollution again. I think this might be from someone who lives up there. They're saying that there's Tina River has a history of landslides. If there is a major landslide upstream, does the project has taken into account that case scenario?
Yes, so when we did the feasibility studies going back to 2009 and all the way up to 2016, a lot of studies have been carried out in terms of seismology, in terms of landslides, and that's why they have selected site 7C. So yes, we know that there are landslides. So in the project funding, there is contingent amount of $7 million US kept for ground conditions. So if there is a landslide during the construction period, during the operational period, that fund will be used for managing that. And the catchment area is 2.5 kilometers from the dam site. Yeah, it's a huge catchment area. So the useful water is about 1,400 million liters. If you look at the overall water, it'll be in billions of liters. Yeah, but the useful water, the first 5 meters on the top, is where it'll be used for generation of electricity. So even if there are minor landslides, they'll be all taken care of in the reservoir area. It should not affect the plant. Yeah. But we have provided enough funds in the project to take care of such unforeseen circumstances. Yeah.
I would like to add in that because they mentioned the earthwork for the access road and dam left abutment is all completed. So till now we have not seen any major landslide. It's all good with the
last 6 years.
Yes.
Just moving on to another question, Lohia. They're talking about in terms of the funding cost at the initial start of the project when it started and now. They're saying that it has been increased since the starting and to now, and how this wasn't captured when the project has initially started. Is there any explanation to this? As they're saying that they're seeing an increase in the project funding over the years, and there's concern that it's costing more for the government, for the country, the government, in terms of the project than what it was initially, started out.
Mm-hmm. So when we signed the power purchase agreement way back in 2018, the tariff, the levelized cost of energy was 17.81 cents US per kilowatt hour. Now it is sitting in more than 20 cents per kilowatt hour. The increase has been due to the delays. So as I mentioned before, because of COVID, and there were also delays in the approval of the environment and social safeguard management plan. So as I mentioned, this project is the largest infrastructure project in Solomon Islands. This is the first time we are delivering such a big project. It's also a starting thing for the government, for the ministries. and all these funding parties, their environmental and social safeguard management requirements are very, very strict. They're very, very comprehensive. They are all follow the best international practices. So it has taken us some time to get these environmental and social safeguard management plans to be approved. And because of that delay, the cost of the project has gone up. Because if you see, the EPC contract was actually quoted in April 2017. That is when the quotation was drawn by Hyundai Engineering Company. The 2017 to now 2025, it is 8 years. And the price of materials like structural steel, cement, the cost of labor has all gone up. And because of that, the cost of the project has gone up.
Thank you for the answer. And just another question, Lohia Mwawe, from one of our viewers, him ask, in terms given, I think it goes for the ministry, and also Mr. Verma could answer this. They're saying it's the first type of project for the country at such a big scale, and given the skills and technical expertise, more so for Solomon Islanders, after the project's completion, what's the plan for Tina River Hydro project, after its completion? How does upskilling of the local workforce, what's the plan there in terms of, looking after the project after its completion and probably taking ownership of the project? I think that's what the viewer is trying to ask here in their question.
Yes, thank you very much. I think the government is well aware of that. We've been talking with our Ministry of Education and looking at providing scholarships for our young youths now, where out by interest law, that for technical area law, engineering, where by him deal with them hydro. So we propose to the Ministry of Education, especially NTU, to start and look for sponsors or giving scholarships to students now, because we are now in 2025 and some of these courses are 4 years. So we want them to start implementing or offering these technical courses for students by next year, so that by 2028 or 2029 they graduate, they can join the Tina River Hydropower project. So that is also one. Another one is we are working with project office in terms of capacity building for current SIG officers within the Ministry of Mines, the Ministry of Environment, so that they can be. We are also working on an attachment based training with the project office, so that all the government officers too by capacity for, because the project office will finish on
early 29.
So that is why it's very important that the transition period, the government must also aware of what now for doing time project office ceased.
So I just like to add to what Director Gabriel said. So from 2028 to 2058, Tina Hydropower Limited, the developer, will actually run the plant. They'll operate the plant and they'll supply the electricity, and they will also maintain the plant. So when the generators, the turbines are being maintained, they will also be training Solomon Islands Electricity Authority employees during that period for 30 years. So it is also capacity building to be done by the developer. It's one of the responsibilities of the South Koreans. So that will happen. And then, as Director Gabriel said, we have got this relationship with the project office. So we are working on the biodiversity management plans for the Upper Tina catchment. That will continue infinitely. I mean, you just can't stop that. So Upper Tina catchment, coal land, the biodiversity management plans are being prepared and they'll be implemented during 30 years and even beyond that. So once we second people from MECDM and from MMERE to the project office, those people can be trained, because the project office is actually working on those plans and helping with the implementation. They can be trained, and when the project office closes in 2029, the government of Solomon Islands can take over and make sure that the biodiversity management plans are implemented properly.
I think it's another, just a follow-up on that question. In terms of the workforce locally currently under the project, would you be able to provide a number on how many are there working under the project as of now?
About 150.
Right now we have 190 people who are working under the project. So there are some international staff and some local staff also there. So local staff, if you consider with the labor and everything, it is more than 100.
More than 120.
Yeah, 120 people.
More than 120.
Yeah, just another part of that question. What areas are they involved in working on under the project?
They are working for all the construction activities, for the dam, for the power house, and for the tunnel. When the tunnel will start, they will work for that also. So they have the skilled and semi-skilled labor. So they are working according to that.
Yes. Just another question, I think, related to what the director said today. You mentioned 4 years with some of the upskilling of the human resource for the project. I would say it might be too late, I think, with 2028 in terms of them taking over, or what necessarily with the time?
Yes, as me hear him from PM, the Tina Hydro Limited, by she stay with me for 30 years. 30 years of the PPA, so they have all the experts. So we need to train these people now, so the time they come out from school, they can be working along with these Koreans, with the expert, then they can transfer on. So it's not late. It's not late in the sense that the Koreans will be with us for 30 years.
Thank you, Thomas, for that follow answer. I think let me just put we are catching up on time. So I'll just, I think, have the last question here. I think you follow answer today, but I think this one, we were him just come in late a little bit, no malo show you me, but I'm just asking back in terms of I think today director you mentioned him the fuel aspect with for Solomon Power. Him just say here if you say put them into, would you be able to put into numbers in terms of how cheaper the electricity cost, probably like in percentage or something? If you say 100%, what by 50 or probably 40%, or I think what like Savelo numbers a little bit, because I think there's a lot of talk law. Electricity by go down low country, but still people pay him a lot out of their pocket. So I think if you say a little bit put him into percentage, probably by giving public a little bit encouragement in terms of once the project him completed or so.
Yes, thank you. I think I'll try it. I'll try it, but then by Pradeep helping me. Yes, I think currently we are looking at 70 cents. Yeah. USD, as per the Pradeep's statement also, the PPA is signed for 17 cents, but now we are looking at 20 cents because of the extra funds. Yeah? So you see, that falafel component may be inside law 70 cents here currently, maybe 35 cents. For example, so that 35 cents by him reduced come for 20 cents. Yeah. So we are only reducing around 15 cents. That's USD. So that's the scenario that we can really give to the people, yeah, because the current non-fuel cost is still controlled by Solomon Power.
So you know, it's actually an exercise in details. So there could be years, you see, it is designed on an average to provide 80 gigawatt hours of energy. In 2028, Honiara's energy requirements will be about 110 gigawatt hours, of which 80 will come from Tina Hydro on an average. But there could be years, now if you can see there's a lot of climate change. We can see over the last 5 years it has been raining very heavily in the dam area. So there could be years when we could get up to 100 gigawatt hours of energy from Tina Hydro. In those particular years, when we are able to get 100 gigawatt hours of energy, the fuel tariff will reduce by more than $1.50. In certain years, it'll only reduce by $1, depending upon how much energy we get out of the dam, out of the scheme. And then, as Director Gabriel mentioned, the non-fuel part is actually something that Solomon Power is looking at. They are the best people to answer that question. But as Director said, the government is coming up with the energy policy. The government is coming up with new regulation under the Electricity Act. So the tariff, the implementation of the tariff, the licensing system, independent power producers, they are actually going to open up the market for those kind of activities. And if we get more independent power producers in the country, they will probably put up some solar farms, and they could join the grid, and they could sell the electricity to Solomon Power at a much cheaper rate, and then Solomon Power can pass those benefits to the consumers. So the non-fuel tariff will also actually fall over the next 5 to 10 years.
Thank you, panelists. Sorry, Ms. A, I said it's the last question, but I need to ask this before we finish this, because I think it's one of the main concerns raised a lot by the public, and it's in terms of the land issues. The question is, if the panelists can talk, just speak in terms of with the project, in terms of land issues, with regards to the project, has this been fully dealt with? Because there has been, some concerns been raised in terms of these land disputes occurring up there with the project. What can the panel say with regards to, the land issues that generally that arise with the project?
You want me to say? You see, the government of Solomon Islands has actually followed the process for the acquisition of the land. So they started on the process way back in 2012. It took them about 5 years to resolve all the issues. So they went through the process. They identified all the landowners. They've had the consultation. The Commissioner of Lands followed the acquisition process, and the land was acquired, and the appropriate amount of compensation was paid to the 5 core tribes. Yes, we know that, these kind of things keep simmering and they keep coming on the surface. There are people who will basically have complaints that they were not given due consideration. But the government of Solomon Islands has followed the process. It was all in the newspapers. They have communicated. They have had community consultations over umpteen years, and they've gone to the process. Yes, and a lot of people have taken the government to the courts, and there are legals, there maybe some cases are still pending, and we will abide by what the court says. But according to the project office, according to the government of Solomon Islands, the process has been followed and people have been duly compensated. And people also in the communities are going to be benefited under the community benefit sharing scheme. So we have the Tina Coal Land Company, which is 50% owned by the government of Solomon Islands and 50% by the five communities, and they're being paid a lease amount, currently sitting at $1 million Solomon dollars a year. And then we have the community benefit sharing scheme, and then we also have the royalty scheme. So the amount of money that is going into the communities on a yearly basis is going to be about $6 million Solomon dollars a year, and that is actually indexed to CPI every year. So 3.5-4% it will go up, and that is for the 30 years of the operation period.
Thank you so much for the answer. Just I think one fun question, probably for the government. Just after Tina River Hydro, is the government looking to have probably another hydro somewhere in the country, or is there plans there? If it's possible, you could update the public.
Yes, thank you very much. I think, as Ms. mentioned earlier, the government is aware of our situation. You got very low access to grid connected electricity. You got the most high cost in terms of electricity. That is what the government is aware of, and we are working we are trying our very best to look at what we can do to reduce or to mitigate all these situations. So in terms of that, hydropower, yes, we are looking at even reviving Komaridi. We are looking at reviving Komaridi. with our NDC and other donor-funded projects. We are also embarking on some hydros in the Kolobangara area, some hydros in Makira, some hydros on Malaita province. We want to really get our access to electricity increased. Even Solomon Power is also working very hard on accessing renewable energy projects for reducing all its cost in terms of non-fuel cost. So Solomon Power garem too what renewable projects with ADB, World Bank. So all what the government is now doing, and the government is reforming the sector, because we have a very, very old act where we limiting me for progress, so we will be amending it, and also the government is taking on its to get a new energy bill for really driving now those areas of access and areas of cost. So as we mentioned, solar is also available, and this can also be utilized. So our other islands where they don't have big rivers, solar is the other option that we are looking at establishing with them, and that is what the government is doing. So hopefully with Tina coming up and a successful story with Tina, it will enthuse and bring in to other donors for look at other alternatives for projects whereby me pursue through. Thank you.
Thank you so much, the panelists. I'll just give to wrap up our show for today, and wrapping up show number for today of listeners and also viewers. Let me give him Mr. Verma, the project manager, to wrap up some of the key points where have been raised through the Talkback Show today and should be take-homes for the public. Thank you, Mr. Verma.
Thank you, Sharon, and thank you, listeners, for all the very incisive questions. So from our discussions, what I can gather is that the people are obviously concerned about the price of electricity and how the project will alleviate, those concerns. The people are also concerned about the timing. Will the project get delayed, or are we confident the project will be completed on time? And people are also looking at, what are the other alternatives that the government is looking at? What is the policy of the government? Is the government thinking of putting other hydro, other solar farms? So we have tried to answer most of your questions diligently, but I'd just like to add and sum up that the project, once this project is completed, it sends the best message to the international community that the government of Solomon Islands, the people of Solomon Islands are ready for doing business in this country. Yeah? We are ready to entertain more public-private partnerships. You see, many of these projects in many countries fail because the government is not providing the right amount of support, the communities are not providing the right amount of support, and that's why at the very beginning, at the very outset, I basically thanked everyone. I thanked not just the funders, I also thanked the government of South Korea, I thanked the people of Solomon Islands, I thanked the provincial government, the communities, and the government of Solomon Islands. If we all collectively work together, this project can be a massive success, and it'll be just a game changer for Solomon Islands. And this will be a precursor for Bina Harbour. You see, it's very, very important that these large infrastructure projects are given the due attention, the due support, which we are getting, and God willing, everything should go fine, and in February 2028 we'll be able to cut the ribbon and start the project on a commercial basis. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Thomas, our panelist Playme, for Talkback Show today, and also thank you, our listeners, where you've been following program Lo Radio, and also our viewers where you've been watching Lo SIBC News Facebook page. From me, Falalo here, Lo Studio Lo SIBC. Thank you, Thomas, for following program. But me bring him back to studios.